I've got my little guy right next to me. Got my little dog right next to me, Romeo. Hi, baby. So we're going to try this live. We'll see if Romeo can behave himself. He hears some noise out in the hallway. Somebody's maneuvering some boxes around or something. So we're going to, he's a little bit of a watchdog. He's a Maltese, by the way. He's a gorgeous little dog. And I just wanted to come on here and say hello real quick. And he misses his mommy. Hey, baby, say hi. He misses his mommy. Mommy's getting her hair done. And the sister is with a friend out at the beach. So good morning, everybody. Peace, love, and muscles to you guys. I wanted to say hello. Can you guys see me okay? Can you hear me okay? Good. I wanted to do this live, even though my little guy is right next to me. And normally he's really good. We spend about 10 minutes biting me after mommy walks out the door. And then he kind of looks forlorn. He sits at the door and then he behaves himself. And last week we did the same routine and we bonded. We slept on the couch together quite a bit. So the vascularity, I don't even know if it's popping because of the lighting in here is really bad. There's like a haze for some reason in here. But peace, love, and muscles to you guys. Trying really hard. I just did an email post, if you're on my email list, about the sort of the before and after pictures that I've actually posted of myself, and what really was the difference between being stuck for a long time and then elevating. And it's the same thing I think can apply to everybody. If you've ever felt stuck with your physique or anything, your relationships, your career, whatever, sometimes you tend to hate on the people who are progressing relatively easily, and you wonder what you're doing wrong. And quite frankly, it's in the fitness world, it's easy to hate on people who are using drugs. And if you're wondering sort of where the chip on my shoulder comes from, it's from knowing how hard I work and then not really seeing the results of that, feeling like you should even have better results. Like, why don't I have the results of the guys in the magazines? And I'm working as hard as they are. In fact, harder because I'm not using any drugs. So you develop this disdain for the fitness industry. You develop this disdain for drug users. You develop this disdain for the system that puts this stuff out there, which, by the way, no bodybuilder has ever come out and said you shouldn't use drugs. No celebrity that we perceive as, has come out and say you shouldn't use steroids. No one. And so it's sort of a taboo subject because nobody wants to, whatever. I don't know why. No one's focused on health. No one gives a crap about anybody in terms of what they're doing. There's a lot of youth that see pictures on Instagram or whatever, and they're like, well, I'm going to have to take steroids because I can't get there naturally. Meanwhile, they don't even try because they're programmed to not even try because they're like, it's not possible. You can't do that. So I was sort of in that camp too, even though you might say, oh, comparatively, you look, good, or you look like you've trained. I wasn't progressing for years. And the chip on my shoulder developed as a result of, well, if I want to get bigger, I'm going to have to eat super heavy. And then I'm going to have to not like how I look. I'm going to have to think about that whole cycle of how do you do that, right? You bulk, you cut, you keep a pound. Meanwhile, you look terrible and feel terrible for a long period of time. And it's not good. I didn't want to do that. So you develop this annoyance or this chip on your shoulder. And suddenly I recognize that, like, look, the world isn't necessarily going to change to suit me. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing wrong. And what I was doing wrong was actually caring about what other people were doing, how they were progressing, how the drug guys were progressing, and I wasn't. So that chip on my shoulder, I'm like, you know what? I've got to realign that energy. I've got to refocus that energy into what I want for me. I never wanted to look like those guys anyway, And by the way, if you see somebody up close that looks like that, you won't either. But you do want to look fit. You do want to look stronger. You do want to progress. And what's funny? As long as you're feeling progress, you're motivated. And when you're not, and you're working so hard, it really is demoralizing. And so what I wanted to do was to remind you of how I did this, how I got to the next level. And I got to the next level by not paying attention to what anybody else was doing, quite frankly, by forgetting about what the rest of the world was accomplishing, the rest of the world was achieving, what the rest of the world was doing. Who cares what they're doing in their bathroom, in their bedroom, and their gym or whatever? Those folks are going to get the consequences of their actions, whatever it is. And I just didn't want to play that game. So I had to realign and refocus on my own game. And as soon as I brought my energy back into me, that's when I started to shift. And I started to accept that I can do this. I have the talent. I've got the interest in doing it. And I'm just as blessed as everybody else. And so I refocused. And suddenly I realigned my energy for what I wanted. I started to actually visualize another version of Victor. And that's where things started to work and take off. So what you see now is the Victor 2.0, who's aligned with that energy, who doesn't really care about what other people are doing, and who's going to play his game. I'm going to play my game. And that's what I want for you to do. I want for you to play your game. Don't worry about what everybody else is up to. It doesn't matter anyway. And so that's the message today. That's the message that I am offering to that allowed me to realign my energy, to realign my focus, to realign my intentions, my goals, and to visualize myself in a different way. That's what I'm doing. So it gives the energy a direction. And that's what's happening to me. And so I wanted to also offer you guys a coupon for 50% off of my training. There's 3 programs. There's one for the gym, one for home with dumbbells, and one for home with fitness bands. I always say home for fitness bands or home for dumbbells, but you don't have to be home. You can be in a hotel room. You could be outdoors. It doesn't matter. But I've got a dumbbell program, resistance band program, and a gym program. I think you're going to love it. They come with yoga, meditation, cardio. I do the cardio. I do all the weights. I do all the resistance and all that stuff. And I have a specialist who does the yoga and a specialist who does the meditation. Meditations are amazing. They put you back in touch with yourself. And the person who does the meditations is Ralph De La Rosa. Ralph is very skilled at helping people overcome addictions, and that includes addictive thoughts. We have meditations in there for actually, I know it sounds crazy, but finding the relationship of your dreams, how to reduce stress and anxiety, how to meditate for better sleep, and they're guided meditations. So anyway, I think you'll really love the programs. Like I said, there's a coupon for 50% off, and that's where we're at today. Greetings, Fouad. He's in the Netherlands. Good to see you. Peace, love, and muscles. Christopher Brown, good to see you. Peace, love, and muscles to you. Marco Marquez, peace, love, and muscles to you. So good to see you all. I hope you're all doing well. Can anybody hear me and see me? If you can, give me a thumbs up because the connection sometimes can get a little bit spotty. Sorry about the shadows. I know there's some shadows here, especially from these chairs. We've been meaning to get rid of these chairs for 100 years. The reason we don't is because you can fit like 2 people in them. And occasionally we do that in the cuddle situation. And right now I've got somebody special next to me. Let me give you his visual. That's my baby Romeo. And Romeo is a Maltese. He's about, he was born on June 25th of last year. So he's about 14 months old, and he's absolutely wonderful. He bites me, but he really just wants attention. And as soon as I start petting him, he stops biting me. So he's conditioned me to basically pet him incessantly. Otherwise, I get bit. But now he's just being a little sweet angel, and he's been amazing energy. And quite frankly, guys, somebody told me that they hated dogs the other day, and I just didn't want to do business with them anymore. And it's like, it's not because of I'm such a dog freak. It's because when you hate something like that, something so benign, something so wonderful, there's something going on that you are misaligned with good at the moment. So hopefully that person will not yuck anybody's yum, and that's important to do. Don't do that. And I heard Gary Vaynerchuk talking about that the other day. I did a podcast on that. Don't yuck anybody's yum. People like certain things. People like certain things, and that's what they're up to. Just respect that. So peace, love, and muscles to you guys. Somebody else said to me one time, people who work out with water bottles are never in good shape. And I'm like, I work out with a water bottle so that I don't have to drink out of a dirty water fountain that people are spitting in and washing out shaker cups. So anyway, peace, love, and muscles to you guys. I love you all. Thank you for being part of my community. There's a lot of people on this channel and a lot of talented people, a lot of smart people, and I appreciate you coming by. I know that what I talk about isn't necessarily the most popular topics because people want to know about supplements, what supplements to take. I don't know because I don't take any supplements. People want to know about drugs and steroids. I don't know. I don't take that stuff. People want to know about the split routine versus the full body routine. And then I say things like, it doesn't matter. Well, the reason I say that is because intention is the most important thing. First of all, you want to stay clean. You want to stay natural so you don't have to worry about what's going on inside your body and that you caused it. The second thing is that once you start that factory, that false testosterone factory keeps going, and your own testosterone factory basically doesn't. It's like the factory shuts down because new workers have been imported to work on your body, right? So everything that was natural inside of you stops working. And now all of a sudden it stops working because you have this false sense of this. And I checked this conversation out and I asked an endocrinologist about my theory on that. And I said, basically, does the factory shut down if you take testosterone? And she said, yes, it shuts down. And depending upon how long you take these things, it's whether or not the factory is going to come back to work and back online at all. And that's really an interesting thing. So before you do that, before you get frustrated, before you get depressed, before you say, I can't achieve, before you do that, really give a good check in your mind about what you're doing. Try to abandon that language, internally, because you are the result more, you are more the result of what you put in your mouth, what you say to yourself in a chronic way, and how you sleep. That's really your energy. And then the hour that you can train a day, 3, 4, 5 times a week, you are more of the basic things that I mentioned, the sleep, the language that you use when you talk to yourself, and the food that you put in your mouth, than the hour a day. So when you see me now, it's not the hour a day. It's the 23 hours that you don't see me, that I'm not in the gym, that make the difference in what I'm doing. And quite frankly, I'm relaxing. I'm not as anxious about what I'm not getting. If you focus on what you don't have, that's what's going to keep showing up, period. You guys know the conversations about the law of attraction, that's applicable to this topic. So if you're focused on my calves won't grow, my chest won't grow, my arms won't grow, don't be surprised if that's what keeps hanging out. How are my hunger levels? I'm not hungry. If you're hungry, that's a signal that you are not nourished. So the way to avert that is by being nourished. Do you know what I mean? The only people who are hungry are the people who don't have enough food, right? Or enough energy or enough nourishment. So you could even have enough energy in terms of calories, but not have the proper micronutrients and still be looking for those and still feel like a longing, right? And that's what's really strange. It's that you have enough food, you can eat everything in the house, and you're still hungry. And the reason you're still hungry is because you're not nourished, because you're missing that 1 or 2 or 3 micronutrients that would make that satisfaction. So peace, love, and muscles to that. So good to see you all. Source energy in a physical body in an attraction-based universe. That sounds like Esther Hicks, a quote. So you got to put quotes around that because that's Esther's. Peace, love, and muscles. And I've been able to help anyone neurological conditions. So Timmy, I don't know what you mean. So do you mean psychological? Um, because I do think that training in general is good for your body, your mind, your health. Nutrition is really how, you know, the energy that you put in is the energy that essentially comes out. Timmy, how many years have you been training? I don't know. On and off for years. You know, I took some time off when I was in school. Um, and then I took some time off when I was, you know, really focused on what I was doing in other fields. So I don't know, but on and off for about 20 years. And but you know, it's interesting. A lot of some people ask me. Some guy tried to interrupt me the other day in the middle of a set to ask me how long I've been training, and I felt like telling him my poem that about time. Um, you know, time doesn't matter, right? Time is meaningless. And the reverse is true when your mission reveals the truth of you. It isn't how long it will take or how much time to collect your due. The only thing that matters is clear. How truly connected are you? So it's not about time. So don't get focused on if I train 20 years, I'll look like that. No, that's not true. If I train 2 years, I'll look like that. That's not true. That's not how anything works. There are people who've been training for 100 years. It could be, you could have 10 lifetimes, train for 1,000 years and not make any progress at all. So it's not about time. It's about connectedness. And that's what a lot of my folks who have experienced crazy transformations have experienced in a short period of time, because it was their level of connectedness. And then you could have other people who could train forever and it doesn't matter. You know that because you go to the gym. You've seen people in there who have been in there since you know, the beginning of time, and nothing's changed. But because it doesn't have to do with how long, it has to do with how connected, right? I've got this little beauty next to me, and he's really chilling me out. I am doing great, Chanel. So peace, love, and muscles to you. I'm going to put a link here for my program, 50% off of my programs, and that's for the gym, and that's for the dumbbells, and that's for the resistance band workouts. I think too many people spend a lot of time thinking about how much time under tension, right? Time under tension is like a thing, but it's not. It's quality time under tension, because a lot of people spend a lot of time under tension. They get nothing. You know, the other day I saw some guy in the gym. He was training with his girlfriend, and there was no separation between any muscle. And the reason for that is because everything he did was not focused. So if I do curls and I pick up the stress overall, what's the difference between training my traps and doing my arms? If I'm doing traps and I'm picking up all the energy in my forearms, what's the difference between if I'm doing my traps or my forearms? It's almost like every exercise is the same. So you get this lack of separation and this lack of definition and this lack of sort of sculpting, and everything just looks like the same all over. There's no difference between any of the muscles. It's because he's just picking up stress. So whether he's doing, you know, leg press or doing his traps, right? Because if you're holding on for dear life doing your leg press or leg extensions, what's the difference, you know? So it's about the connectedness to each muscle group. So think about that. When you train, you know, you're doing hamstrings and you're doing deadlifts, or you're picking up the stress everywhere. And it would be no difference as if you were doing shrugs, because your legs are flexed when you're doing shrugs. Do you know what I mean? So that's an important thing. Make sure that there is this focus on the muscles that you're trying to work. And you could do that in your mind. The way that I do it is I connect to those muscles before I even start training. And I have techniques on how to do that, of course. What temperature is beneficial to muscles? I don't know what that means, but I don't, you know, you mean when the air conditioner is blasting in the gym? I don't particularly like that when the AC is blasting in the gym. So I kind of find those little hot spots. I try to take care of myself. Like, in other words, if I'm too hot, I walk away and find a little AC, then I walk back. But, you know, yes, I know people try to train. I see people training with sweatshirts on. I don't know how they do that. I mean, there's a guy at my gym he's dressed head to toe, zipped up to the neck with his training suit on. And I'm like, I can't do something like that. I need to sort of be free. I train with this on. A Hanes t-shirt is what I wear at the gym. A Hanes tank top is what I wear at the gym. And because I need that kind of freedom. And, your body heats up when you're training. But for me, I happen to like just, room temperature, 70, 72, 73 degrees. When it gets too hot, you've got to really, sometimes I just walk out, quite frankly. We've had a hot streak here in New York City a couple of weeks ago, and I was pushing myself, and I'm like, this is not right. I mean, even though it's cooler in here, I can still feel this. If you're sensitive to the heat, your body's permeable. You don't want to stress out too much in the heat. Let's see. You're injured your radial nerve at work. I'm depressed because I can't train my right arm properly now. So yeah, when you were talking about neurological, I don't know how to do that. It's not actually, even if I did, and I do, it's not proper for me to offer that advice from this distance, and I'm not licensed to offer that kind of advice to you. There's so many amazing professionals out there. There's so many amazing neurologists. I know many of them if you need a referral that you could talk to. But that's not my what I do. I'm very good at helping people overcome obstacles. And whether that's physical, emotional, mental, and the expression is through physical exercise and also through encouragement and interaction. Sure, Neo. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. Yes, you should train to failure, but not heart failure. I've always said that before. Training to failure, but not heart failure. So basically, when you can no longer do the exercise in the appropriate alignment, and then when you're continuously focused on the elements of a repetition, which are your form, your momentum, your concentration, your awareness of the exercise, your recognition of the resistance, all of those things, right, are elements of repetitions. So I check that off in my mind. Like, am I connected to what I'm doing? Am I focused on what I'm doing? Am I picking up the exercise and the body parts that I want to? Do I have the right form? And also, do I have the right momentum? And then if I can't do the exercise within checking off those boxes, right, of all those elements of a rep, connectedness, form, technique, momentum, all that kind of thing, then I stop, So when my concentration begins to wane, it's kind of over, right? I want you to think of repetitions in terms of energy and information into the body. And when you think about it, you have to ask yourself, what are the reps saying to my muscles, right? What's that information? How is it getting decoded by my body? And if it's just pure exertion, the body's not recognizing that properly, right? So you have to sort of figure out, what do the reps say to my body? And then you have to decide if you're going to continue to go beyond that. But of course, you want to challenge yourself. And that's the only way sort of, where your limits are. So peace, love, and muscles. So you've been fit and dieting for many years now. So Alessam, you're trying to get to what I'm doing in terms of time. And I think that you're making a mistake, because what you see now from me is very different than what it was a couple of years ago, because the way that I eat is different. So I used to think of vegetables and micronutrients as sort of a footnote. I would really just cover my macros: carbs, proteins, fats. Now I pay more attention to the micros and I let those do the work. So that's like the next level up, right? So you could do that too. But it's sort of, most people don't have enough calories, and then they have to focus on their macros, how they look and how they feel. And then they focus on their micros, and then you focus on how do you curate or procure your food sources, whether they're organic or not, the highest level of quality of the food. And then there's other levels too about how you digest the food as well, which have a little bit, in my view, have to do with how do you think about food and how do you feel about food. So Alessam, you're trying to get to a little bit of a nitty gritty of, if I do this for time, I'll get here. And that's not how anything works. So, like I said, I have clients who have trained for very short periods of time and have made unbelievable transformations. And then there are other people who take a longer period of time because it wasn't what they're doing, it was their level of connectedness. And being connected to an objective is pretty amazing. You know, we were watching David Waddle. I don't know if you guys have seen that video. Given that the Olympics are on, you know, I have some of the Olympic things on Instagram. And Dave Waddle, that's a video that's been around forever. It's been since 1972. I think it was the Munich Games, pretty sure. Watching it last night with my wife, and I said, take a look at this. And it's like, how the hell how do you do this? You know what I mean? How does this guy come from last place, like in the 800, to win? And it's like will. So there's a lot of that has to go into this. So you could be mechanical, like I could even tell you what to do exactly, but there's a level of connectedness that you need to your own specific objective that trumps and makes much more sense than any kind of a routine that somebody could give you. I hope that makes some sense. Is 1 hour daily workout sufficient? For some people, it actually could be too much, Lee. Lee Chin Hang, good to see you. Peace, love, and muscles to you. It could be too much. If you're not eating enough and you're not sleeping enough, 1 hour could be, depending upon how much intensity you put into that hour, could actually be too much, right? When you think of it in those terms. And then for other people, it isn't enough because of they're dilly-dallying, they're not really focused, they're spending 3 minutes between sets. So if you spend 3 minutes between sets in an hour, you've only done 20 sets, maybe, actually less, because it would take you about a minute to a minute and 15 to complete a set anyway. So when you think of it, you've only done a little bit and you walk out. So it depends. So I only train for an hour. It is a very efficient hour. It is a very fast, an hour and 17 minutes or so. It is a very fast paced routine. Not a lot of rest between the sets. Not a lot, no dilly dallying, no talking to anybody, and no goofing around, and very intense. So that's how I like to train. Beyond that, so for me personally, if I go beyond that, it is too long. It is, even if I hang out in the gym, meaning somebody was using the piece of equipment that I wanted to use, so I waited around, I can't be in that energy for more than an hour and 17 minutes. My body cannot handle that hanging out there for that long. It's just time to go. But a half hour, if you're really crazy intense, could actually be too much. Do you know what I'm saying? So it depends on your level of intensity. It depends on your level of connectedness. It depends on your level of exertion. Guys, you might have noticed that when you're training, sometimes one set can actually blow up the whole workout. Like if I really go nuts on set one, I mean, quite frankly, if I throw everything I got into a set, think about, and that set is done at like the 20-minute interval. I'm there for 20 minutes. I do this ridiculous set. Doesn't that sort of throw off the energy for the rest of the workout? I mean, to the extent where I could actually blow myself out, meaning I'm done, So you have to pace yourself as well. So time, again, we talked about time earlier because the last sim was trying to get to how long have I been fit? How long have you been dieting? How long have you been training, to try to figure that out? It doesn't matter because time is meaningless, really, when you're connected. So I would say a half hour of a connected workout, focused on your goal, your objective, really connected, feeling all your muscles working, not blowing up too much, meaning not exerting yourself too much, but just right, all that. A half hour of that level of connectedness is better than hours and hours and hours of being sort of absent. A lot of people they're dialing it in and they're not really focused on what they're doing. And, they're talking to their friends in the gym on the phone. I mean, I hear people talking, planning bachelor parties in Las Vegas, and you're trying to get a workout in. So, I mean, that isn't, that's not connected to anything. That's like driving with your feet, eating a Big Mac. You're not connected to the road. You're more likely to mess up. Anyway, enough of that. Peace, love, and muscles. But anyway, I wanted to offer you a coupon here for the training. The training will keep you on track. Hopefully you guys can link up to this coupon. I don't know. There was a person over here that said they couldn't get on. I don't know if that was if that was about the coupon or not. It should work. I'm going to test it. Hang on a second. Let me test it. And let's see. I got this beautiful dog next to me, Romeo, just so you guys know. It's working fine. Everything's working fine over here. Okay. Let's see. Neurology.